about emotional whirlwinds. Next, so from context of DCA rides. Thank you for coming. Let's get into it. Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind is a spinner ride which is based on Inside Out. Having opened on June 28th, 2019 at Pixar Pier at Disney's California Adventure. The emotional whirlwind utilizes the long-vacated Malibu space and anchor a neighborhood of Pixar Pier, known as Inside Out headquarters. It also utilizes the infrastructure of Bugs Land attraction Flix Flyers. You are an emotional person. Maybe more than others, and maybe less than others. That's what this ride seems to be portraying in terms of the spinning ride into individual cartridges. And when I mean by cartridges, I mean carts. And while that is the greatest thing you may ever understand about something like this, it's something we can all take away in terms of this very node. What does it mean to control or have less control of our emotions? And what can we do to understand the emotions as such, in terms of the emotions that we portray on the day-to-day basis? What's the psychological influence of our emotions? How do they work into our sociological way? And why are we here talking about this right now? Something that's portraying none other than just a ride that spins in a circle. And with that being said, there's something interesting about all this in terms of what we see in terms of emotions that we portray, and what the emotions mean in the movie Inside Out, which is what this ride is based off of. It's a good ride. It's the same thing as Flix Flyers, but it's a different kind of role and understanding of the ride. Even though it's a carnivalistic type ride, it's a ride that seems to be showing the most amount of portraying of what it means to be in an emotional whirlwind. And with that being said, it's like a saying we need to understand by the bone. What does it mean to have the sense of an emotional whirlwind at your grasp? And here's the thing. A lot of times we feel that we can't control our emotions. And that's what's going to lead us into this. Let's go into detail.
That's my cue.
Okay, so what is the main thing you're taking away from your emotions? Why do you feel you can't have self-control over them? See, this ride is an emotional whirlwind. A whirlwind that goes around and around and around. A whirlwind that seems like when you're going around and around and around in your head. And that being said, that's something we can take in terms of the biggest idea ever. Emotions are something that we can have control over. And how can you have control over emotions if it's all day, every day, a panic attack, almost dealing with things we have to deal with on a daily basis? Kids, work, and school are the things that we seem to work on a daily basis that hurt us in some sense. But the thing is, when it comes down to it, that's exactly what makes us important and strong enough to control the emotional whirlwind. To control our anger, to control our sadness, to control our disgust, to control our anger, and to control even our joy sometimes. And that's what makes this ride in particular a great ride in decadent so. It has a very clear tune of where it's trying to go. And even though it may feel a little rushed, it's something that we can all take a consideration of maybe our channeling of emotions. Riley has many types of emotions, and she goes through them every day. Imagine yourself in this ride. You're riding the ride, and you have an emotion that's sort of something that needs to be dealt with. And with that emotion, or emotions being dealt with, you finally come to a stop. And a stop means you're resting. You take a day off, you take a nap, you play video games, just channel out everything that's happened. Just channel out everything that's going on and become something more than your emotional whirlwind. But here's the thing. What does this all mean for us? But before we go into that, a brief intermission.
Nowhere I'd rather be.
What do you do to have your emotions controlled by themselves?
And how is it that we have something greater than what we see in terms of the emotions that we feel?
Well, here's the thing. When we have something greater than ever before, leading us to something greater than what can be stored, we have a place and a time where we can set towards ourselves and set towards the world that we have around us. So, what do you think about your emotions? What do you feel about your emotions? And how can you control them from being in a whirlwind? For our application, continue further. They get the moral of the story. They were in the historical world for context at DCA Rise. The more rides in the future, keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. You guys can help me get there by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right on the screen. Also, by hitting that bell, leave a comment if you can too. Also, follow my Patreon if you can. It wouldn't hurt. Thank you again, and peace.